You're listening to Modern Male Radio with Jerod Zavistoski and Nick Hawk, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Whether you're a man seeking to get better with the opposite sex or a woman looking for some insight, I believe we can help. Through a long process of trial, error, and market analysis, we formulated this show to help males become more modern in their mode of thought. We've developed a methodology of the modern male, a series of all the areas a man can develop himself to become more attractive to women. This show will teach you how to become the new archetypal male, a male with the freedom to dress, groom, and behave, removed of social constructs, and only adherent to the truth of what women seek. Taking the best qualities and attributes a man can possess and integrating their understanding with undeniable logic, this show will teach you how to become the one true archetype. Welcome to the Modern Male Movement. I'm your host, Jerod Zavistoski, and you're watching and you're listening to Modern Male Radio. This is all the stuff your mama should have told you and the shit your daddy never knew. And as always, my co-host, entrepreneur, author, and actor, I give you star of Showtime's Gigolos. I give you the Sultan of Smooth, the Commander of Cock, the Tyrannosaurus Rex of Sex. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Lord of Them Thighs and all that's inside. Give it up for Nick Hawk.
Thank you, Jerod. Welcome, guests, and welcome, viewers. Thank you for being a part of the movement. Tonight we are covering online dating and marriage, how to get the girl in today's high-tech world and how to keep the girl once you got her. Tonight in the studio we have online dating expert Jerod Oner and marriage expert Dino Watt. Jerod, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Got into this stuff in late 2007, early 2008. Couldn't deal with breakups that well. Would party, drink, do everything to escape reality. And finally just realized, coming out of a blackout, looked at myself and was like, who would date me? And started searching on the web. Bought a $40 ebook, and within a year, I was speaking at my first major PUA pickup artist seminar.
Nice.
All right, good stuff. And how about Dino? What makes you a marriage expert? You've had many marriages or one good one?
Yeah, one awesome one, actually, coming up on 20 years at the end of this month. So, yeah, very awesome marriage. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Well, I got into this game back in 2006. I just saw that there were a lot of people who were struggling in their relationships that I was able to kind of easily see the fixes for them. So I started to take business principles, because a lot of my friends were very successful business owners, and I took business principles and put them into their marriage so they could have the same type of success they see in their business and their relationships.
That's awesome, man.
All right, good stuff. All right, I got the studio up now. The studio looks good, Jerod.
Thank you. Actually, thanks, Sam. We got Sam in the house right here, and he has been working his ass off to make sure that this transition was smooth, because we got two Skype callers, and we've got me and Jerod in the studio, and this is the first time Jerod in the studio, huh? That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah. Well,
and this is the first time.
Your name the same way too?
Actually, I've never seen spelling his way. It's J. It's J-E-R-A-D or
J-A-R-O-D.
Yeah, so we're kind of.
I haven't seen it like yours either.
Yeah, it's very similar. We're both a little bit of anomalies right
now.
I thought
they're both J-E. All right.
Cool. And a lot of people don't know this, but I have to kind of burn it out. Getting a talk show was actually Dino's idea. I met Dino at Peak Potentials. God, it wasn't even a year ago. And you were like, dude, you got to get a radio show. That's what you need to do. And I was like, all right, and I started thinking about it, and then, I ran into the guys at LA Talk Radio, and Sam was so cool. I was like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. And, the rest is history, but this was your idea.
Well, I'm happy to have helped. I just think that when I saw your book and I saw what you were doing, I just went, dude, this is easily a podcast or a radio show, and it just positions you in such a better, stronger place to be, as automatically you got a show. You're the expert. It's undeniable. You have that credibility. It's a positioning statement. So congratulations on your success.
Be like, I'm going to slap you in the face with my cock radio show. Pah! Oh, all right. Cool. How you been, Nick?
Can't complain. Still training hard. I did end up getting my jiu-jitsu brown belt after winning the world. So that was a huge accomplishment and milestone, to say the least.
Nice, very nice. For those of you listening who don't know, who didn't want
but I'm banged up. I've been doing it for over 20 years now as well.
20 years?
Still there?
Yeah, it's making yourself sound like an old man.
Yeah, about 22 years. About 11 of wrestling and 11 of jiu-jitsu. So, I mean, it definitely takes a toll on you.
Yeah, no, I can do that. That's crazy. We kind of got we've got a mixed group here because we were just talking about fitness with Jerod here, and you did something, right? No?
Back in the day, I just danced at the clubs. I was a dancer.
Okay, yeah.
So good cardio. Woo! Good cardio.
Get out there. Well, cool. So I love having you guys on here today because we've got an awesome an awesome opportunity to kind of segue to worlds because Dino, you're an expert in marriage, so you're an expert in kind of how to make a relationship work that's really past the point of a relationship. Like now it's a partnership. And I love the structure and the idea you've got there with, kind of treating it like a business and treating it like this something that could be worked on. And Jerod, you're an online dating expert. So basically, like from being so saturated in a relationship to the basically like being completely devoid of any social contact, we're going to cover today what creates attraction. From point A to what keeps attraction to point Z. So it's really, really cool that I get to have the two of you guys on because there's going to be a really awesome dynamic between the two of you. Jerod, real quick, do you have like a top three thing? Like what are the top three things that create attraction?
When it's online, the things that I try and avoid are bad-mouthing or talking negatively. So
okay.
I never say anything. I just keep it fun and playful. Always have fun. Always just keep it light. And then the third one would be just flirt, banter, and tease.
Flirt, banter, and tease.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of like another word for charm.
Yeah.
Right?
Just lay it on a little thick, just you can goof around and sometimes you can lay it on like too smooth, and then they'll know you're like joking around, but you just try and keep it light and playful.
If you have to ask, like if somebody if you have to like follow up with, hey, I meant that in a funny way. If you didn't get that, then you're already fucked.
Oh, yeah. You threw yourself under the bus.
What I found online is literally like saying the dumbest stuff works. Like, yo, hey, oh yeah, I'm good. Okay, cool. Like no effort. That shit works. When you're like, hey, so my name is Jerod, and I was thinking like, your eyes look really beautiful and we might make good kids someday, if like we had them with like our eyes could probably match in like this. And it's just like, God, like, why are you doing that? Like, don't say that to her. And it's even something that I had to learn, like, cause I'm over here like there's no difference between, a guy over here and a guy over there. It's just development. It's just, did you learn the universal experiences that we all kind of have to learn? And
right.
I think that's where me and Nick come in a lot with a lot of this stuff. There's like self-development is our biggest thing. I mean, how do you feel, Nick? Did we lose you?
I just heard, how do you feel, Nick? I keep cutting out, man.
Oh, man. We're having problems. Hey, Nick, you're on Skype, right? Nick? Fuck. Okay, so we lost both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so technical difficulties, but we're going to be right back. So, Nick, what I'm going to have you do is hang up the phone and call in, and then I'm just going to merge the calls. Dino, if you can hear me right now, I want you to call in too. Don't call in from Skype. Just call in the station. I can take two calls at once, right? Awesome.
I'm good. I'm back. I'm good.
Sweet. Look at you. And you sound all full and sexy. All right. Cool. So, Jerod, recap those three principles for me real quick. We've got a lot going on now.
Just never badmouth or talk negatively when you're doing online. Just always keep it positive. Always have fun. And then the third one was flirt, banter, and tease.
Cool. Flirt, banter, and tease. I like that. You got the little system set up.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Dino, what are your three?
For dating, I don't suggest dating when you're married. That would kind of.
What are your top?
That's what I was going to get into. Hold on, we could jump to some of my questions then.
Okay, awesome.
My wife really frowns on me dating other people.
My question, Dino, was
that's healthy then? When you don't have any outside stimulation, and you think all marriages should be completely closed off, or it's good for some people and not good for others?
I honestly, I've never, in the years I've been doing this, and in most of the studies that I have read, I've never found that it is healthy for a marriage. It's always, because there's always that, human nature that comes into it, the jealousy, the factor of, well, what are they doing different than me? Or are you falling in love with that person as me? There's this human nature to it. And I'm a huge fan of monogamy. I'm a huge fan of really exploring and growing with your spouse. Like I said, not only have I been married for 20 years, but I've known my wife since I was 5 years old. We dated other people throughout high school and stuff like that, but we were virgins when we got married. And it's just so fun and exciting to be with her and explore. And because we're willing to, I think the problem with a lot of marriages that grow and that don't grow and that flounder into other relationships is because the two people aren't willing to grow together and let the other people grow separately as well. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of that.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's good. What do you guys do to spice up the marriage then? That's probably the number one question I get asked on my Sexpert website.
Well, one of the things that is interesting, if you look at most studies, married people actually have more sex than single people. Well, it makes sense, right? I mean,
that makes perfect sense.
What's that?
I said that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and the thing is that what I teach is we teach how you get your expectations met every time as a couple. Meaning, look, when you're getting into life, I've been married 20 years. I have 3 kids, teenagers. You're not always going to have the crazy hanging from the chandelier sex. And what we do is we teach couples how to communicate better from the place of, this is what I want and this is what I expect, or this is what I'm looking for. What are you willing to give? We actually have a full course that that I call Cure to the Sex-Starved Husband, because it's about helping guys learn how to be guys that your wives want to have sex with more often.
Nice. In
our courses, we actually teach our couples, you need to be having sex at least minimum 3 times a week. That's a minimum of 3 times a week. And when you do, you're going to make more money, you're going to be happy, you're going to be healthier, you're going to be more connected. And
I agree 100% with that. I don't know about the closed relationship thing, though. I have come to find out, especially in my line of work and being in the adult business, in the adult industry, I've hosted a couple swinger parties. I'm at a lot of adult conventions with people, typically don't have, monogamous relationships. And I've come to find that they are some of the most open, and it's just my opinion from noticing this, especially the swinger parties that I've noticed, that I've been to. I really noticed that they're the most open and accepting and honest, and I've never gotten such a great vibe at some of these events I've been to.
And there goes Nick. So it happens, folks. We're gonna set up a better Skype connection next time. Right back to it, Dino. One of the biggest, what I was specifically referencing was, it wasn't how you create attraction with somebody that you're dating. How do you create attraction within a relationship? I get that it's all well and good to, make sure that you have sex 3 times a week, but how do you get that spark, that flame? What are the top 3 things that you do specifically, or that, you would recommend for somebody who feels like their marriage is in a rut? What would you do?
Wife interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think number one, the thing is touch. A lot of people forget that just non-sexual touch, just touching each other, holding hands, going and giving each other hugs, touching each other on the butt and stuff when they walk by. That is the flirtatious side that a lot of couples forget. They end up being roommates and kind of do this choreographed dance where they don't really touch each other a lot. Matter of fact, there's a study out there that shows that 75% of women who were asked said the number one thing they would wish their men would do more often, their partners would do more often, was just touch them when they went by.
Oh, wow.
Because there's that energy connection. So touch is definitely number one. Number 2 is being super, just transparent in communication. My wife and I teach this thing about how even when I'm attracted to somebody else, hey, I'm a human being. I'm going to be attracted to other people. A big myth that people have when they get married is, I should never be attracted to another person again. That's crazy. You're a human being. But I'm allowed to say to my wife, hey, man, I'm totally sexually attracted to that person. And she can say that to me, but we don't take that as a threat. We take that as an information of going, oh, really? What is it about them that is attractive to you? And sometimes it's just their energy. Sometimes it's the look. Sometimes it's their hair, whatever. And we have that conversation, and that helps us grow stronger. And then the other thing that I think keeps us attracted to one another, I got to tell you, in a marriage like mine, 20 years, it's what we've been through. You know, I totally respect our journey that we've been on. And there have been times where it's not been great. And there have been times where it's been ridiculously insane good. But it's that journey they've been through. So
that's awesome. That's beautiful. Do we have Nick back?
I'm back. I got the end of that. I like the end of that. I have no idea where you lost me. I went on about a 3-minute rant.
We segued right into attraction.
I just like to say that I agree. I understand what you're saying totally about that openness. I come from the place of I do a lot of the study stuff too, but both my grandparents were swingers, so I know the world. I'm not, an idiot to it. Seriously.
Wow.
My grandparents in California, here, they're raised in Fontana, California. That's where my mom was raised. I never understood as a kid why. I thought it was just a cool thing. They had an indoor swimming pool, with a cover over it and all that stuff. And I thought, wow, they're cool people. We're in California though. Why do we have an indoor pool? Until later on in life, my parents told me that they're swingers. They used to hold swingers parties all the time up until they were grandparents and stuff. But they had the worst marriage ever.
That's got to be a dirty fucking pool. Is anybody else thinking about how dirty the pool is? Like, did the kids swim in that thing?
Yeah, no, don't make me think of that, man. It's my grandparents. This is wrong,
dude. That's wrong on so many levels. That's horrible.
Oh, why do you think? What went wrong? Why do you think it was bad? You think it was, as you were saying earlier, jealousy issues? They didn't trust issues?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my grandparents hated the heck out of each other. It was one of those things where when my grandfather died, my grandmother did not shed too many tears, type thing, right? It was they stayed together for money, and they stayed together for just honestly, that's pretty much it. Just money there, or even just, well, we've been in this world for a long time. We might as well. And he had a girlfriend when he died, and I mean, it was just crazy stuff. But
so before the swinging and everything, then they had problems already.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
So the swinging was kind of a result of problems, do you think, or were they always
exactly?
swingers?
I don't think the swinging made the problems. Obviously, it's just like money, right? Money doesn't make people jerks.
Some people have a baby. Some people start swinging.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I compare the two.
No, but I mean, that's true, because there are a lot of things that people do to kind of fix relationships or spice it up when it's not working. And, I could see how that might be something if they didn't decide, or if the baby wasn't enough, they were like, hey, let's fuck it. Let's swing.
Yeah.
But it's funny because our last show, we actually had a guy on who was polyamorous, and he was talking about, the ability to be comfortable with yourself and actually just love outside of that. And, be in a relationship with several different people and give several different types of love. I know this is kind of like a side note question, but how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's possible for a man and a woman to divide their focus in love? Do you think it's possible? Do you think that's healthy? Give us your thoughts, both Jerod and Dino, please. We'll start with Jerod.
Yeah, I mean, in today's world, I mean, people are going every which way. So I mean, we're starting to break away from the normal marriage, the normal thought.
It's always back to generational evolution. I swear to God, every time we talk about this, it's generational evolution.
Yeah, like everyone's like breaking out of the old school and doing their own thing nowadays. So
the systematic social constructs that were put in place to create and aid social cohesion.
Yeah, like a lot of people back in the day, it's like, all right, get married, have a kid, live your life, die. And
what do you think about that, Dino?
So let me preface with realizing this is totally one of those episodes in life where it's like, hey, one of these things is not like the other. So let me preface with that. I totally don't agree with that. I think that there is this idea that, this is my philosophy of this. If you were to take a vice, take any vice in the world, and I'm not here to judge anybody, but you take a vice, and if everybody in the world started doing it, would it be good for the world ultimately, or would it be the destruction of the world? And I think that if you don't have people who are willing to work through the hard times and look through, no, man, you can love other people, but to be in love with this other person and recognize there are times where I'm not going to be in love with them, that I got to work to make that love work. I think one of the challenges of our society today is we have this throwaway society. It's like, well, I'm not in love right now, or I haven't been in love even for the last month or year. That means it's over. No, you work. You worked to get in love. You work to stay in love. So,
and for the record,
I don't know if I can agree with that.
Yeah, for the record, I actually support that as well. I've always been very strictly monogamous in my relationships. And it's just interesting to share and kind of, so don't feel like we're disagreeing, because it's something that, and Nick is, kind of the complete opposite of that, but we both kind of see where the two.
Yeah, totally. And I'm a lover as well too. And I'm always looking for, that special someone that, I'd want to spend a long part of my life with. Hold on, it's blowing up right there. What's going on? You told me to enjoy it.
I'm the same way. I don't.
Oh man, what a clusterfuck this is.
But just
we're having a show here.
What's that?
I'm saying, just generally speaking, with like the way people are today. I was just speaking on that. But yeah, I'm the same way. I'm looking for that one girl that you could crack jokes with when you're 63.
I think it's the unicorn. It's the innate. Like, we all want that.
Yeah. And I think
there's good and bad. There's a lot of bad that comes with a full-time relationship too. I almost think it's better. We've become more of an independent society as well, and I think that's what makes the challenge of living with someone and spending every day with someone, such a challenge. And obviously, it works best if you both have your own life, you have your own friends, you socialize separately, you both have a job and a career ahead of you as well. But I think once you get to a certain point and that foundation is built, that it's okay to experiment outside of the relationship, and or just have multiple people and keep to yourself, be this independent person, and see a few people on the side. As long as you're honest with yourself, I think that's where the root and the base of everything comes from. There's people who are in committed relationships that shouldn't be, then there's people who possibly venture outside of relationships where they shouldn't.
I definitely I agree. I can kind of see that. What do you think, Dino?
Yeah, I hate to be the ass here, right?
That's not being an ass, man. That's what the show's for.
The premise is that it's a drudge, or it's hard to be together with the same person for the rest of your life. I don't agree with that. I think that the beauty
it's hard to spend a large amount of time with anybody. If it's your brother, your mom, any other family member, your best friend, it's hard to be around somebody for a long period of time.
Yeah, but things that are hard, when you do it for long enough and you actually focus on it, they make you stronger. Going to the gym is hard every day too, but you guys look like rock stars because you do. I don't.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hold on a second. I'm gonna do a switch move real quick. I was gonna do this a little smoother. All right, let's see how that looks. For those of you watching at home, this is our first day on TV, so we're doing some experimenting to kind of see how all this works. And I'm gonna snug right up here next to Jerod. And cool. So see how you guys like that as well. Awesome. Do you guys believe in the kind of the fairy tale romance? Like, you fall in love with somebody, you fall madly in love with them, and you never, it's just that they're that one. They're that meant to be person, or maybe not meant to be, but like, even on a scientific level, they could be down to that. They're just the most genetically compatible person that you've ever found, and you're head over heels for them. And I mean, what do you guys think about that? Do you believe in the one, or do you guys do you hope that there is, but not believe that there isn't? Like, I still got you guys, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I just don't know who you're asking.
I'm asking everybody. Like, this is a general thing.
I don't believe that there is the one. I believe there's the one that you create. I believe, like, my wife and I. My wife actually coined this saying that, soulmates are not created. I mean, soulmates aren't born; they're created, right? You make your soulmate who it is. You work hard to make that relationship special. I think people who get married purely because of love are in for a world of hurt.
So you actually you think that people. So you create your own reality, basically. You could marry anyone and make it into a conducive relationship. That's what you're saying.
No, absolutely not. No, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying is that when you find somebody, just because you fall in love with somebody is not a good reason to marry them. what you do is you find somebody who you can be compatible with, and you have certain specific dreams and goals together, vision of life and how it should be, and you have a common goal and desire that is bigger than the two of you.
So you're into practicality over like, drop down, knock out, like love. I love you like so bad I want to eat your face.
Well, here's the reason. We know that science, the higher the emotion, the lower the IQ, right? You get in a fight and an argument with somebody, and your blood starts boiling, and then you leave that argument, and 15 minutes later, you're like, man, I should have just said that, and I would have totally knocked him down, because you're clear. Your blood pressure drops down. Well, that same thing happens in love. When you're in love with someone, you're madly in love, like I want to eat your face type love, you're not thinking clearly. You're stupid. And then you add sex to it. I mean, you might as well put a helmet on, because you're probably drooling, around. Like that's what goes on in the brain. And so, yeah, to do it for love.
It's your brain rewarding yourself for finding a compatible mate. It's actually a release of dopamine and other chemicals. Some of them that do benefit you, it does cloud your mind. But yeah, that is what exactly love is.
So love is basically a genetic defense mechanism that clouds your brain in order to ensure the survival of the species. That's what all this boils down to. Okay, cool. What do you think, Jerod?
Sounds good.
Just sounds good?
Sounds good, yeah.
This is part of the pickup madness right here.
When it comes to all that, so basically what you're saying is, like, once you feel that way, you have to step back and think about it logically rather than going straight off your emotions, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
You do, or go have your little honeymoon, though. I mean, you can have some fun. Eventually, it wears out anyways. I used to bounce around from girl to girl to girl when I was younger, and it's fun being in quote in love with somebody. But once you understand what it is and what it's doing to yourself, then it might not be as fun anymore.
See, I'm just gonna put it out there, guys. I believe in Prince Charming, fairy tale, romance. I believe but I don't disagree with you, Dino, either. I think that there is work involved, and there are times when I don't feel like getting a girl flowers, and there are times when I don't feel like laying out the red carpet for her, and there are times when I don't feel like being proper at that moment. But you have to put in the work, you have to put in the structure, you have to put in that logical thing. But then I also love keeping that storybook romance brewing and constantly like, it's almost more important to me that we don't lose that, because that's the glue that binds us together.
Right.
What's great about that, Jerod, is that, with what I do and teaching these guys, a lot of these guys, number one, don't even know how to date, but keep that romance alive, right? On my podcast, the last question I ask before I go into this, rapid fire round question is, what do you do to keep the romance alive? And so many guys are like, well, yeah, it's hard for me to work on that. I don't do the bass with the flower petals anymore. Like you said, the red carpet. And I'm like, man, you guys are thick stupid. It's the simple things. It's the little things that actually turn your wives on. Like the email that says, hey, man, or hey, I'm thinking of you, honey. How are you doing? Or the phone call in the middle of the day. That's the stuff that turned your wives on. So it's both of those, right? It's having those moments where you can make it special for her, and then also having the little tiny things that add up, because you are living a life and a relationship together.
And see, this is a male-female dynamic thing that's really interesting, because men kind of equate their best selves with the ability to not communicate or be silent in the same room. You notice when friends become really, really good friends, they don't actually talk as much. They kind of look at each other and they know what they're communicating telepathically, whereas girls are always, they want to talk. So it's funny when you actually you're sitting there looking at your phone, you're like, oh, I should text her. And you don't really think about it at that particular second. You don't want to text her, but you're thinking, I should text her. And you're going, why is that? And I think it's, you're subconsciously picking up on her desire to be texted, first of all, that whole universal energy thing. But we could take the hokey stuff out of it for a second. It seems to us like, why would I do that? And it seems almost deprecating in some way. Like that's like an extra thing. And I don't know, sometimes I'm almost like, is that too much? Because if somebody was doing that to me, I don't know how I'd feel about it. But yeah, I mean, it's different when you're in love, I think. But it's just really like interesting, strange dynamic there that, girls constantly want to be reminded, and they constantly want to be nurtured and cared for.
They want to know that you care.
Yeah. And men.
Yeah, but there are some guys though that have to. There's some women also that have to realize the kind of guy that they're getting involved with, because like my father-in-law, he's the type of dude that said, "Hey, I told you I loved you when we got married, and if that ever changes, I'll let you know."
Oh wow.
So don't expect me to say I love you every 3 minutes, right? So when we find those people, whether it be in dating or what, man, I mean, I think it's more important to have the balls to ask what they want so you can fulfill that, or to say, hey, that's not me, instead of having to deal with the friction and the breakdown later on because she's mad you're not doing the things she's asking you to do, but that's just not the type of guy you are, or you're not willing to become that type of guy.
See, I solved this problem, okay? And Disney did it for me, actually. Disney, like, they put out all of these movies about Prince Charming, all these Disney movies. So there is an archetype that like we all know Prince Charming. We can all watch Disney movies. So that archetype is right there for you to grasp. Now, whether you want to, whether you choose to do that, whether you innovate that in your own way, or you go, hey, that's gay, I'm not going to do that. Prince Charming is right there. And every single girl, whether she likes to admit it or not, is somehow, some way has been sociologically manipulated by this archetype. And it's brilliant. Like, you know what every girl wants. It's right there. There's a picture of it. And the most awesome part about it is there wasn't actually a lot to it. It's something that you can innovate really easily. And that's what we do with Methodology of the Modern Male, which, by the way, is on, or actually, there's a camera right there now. I'm not pointing at the table, which, by the way, is on my Facebook now. I'm going to pitch that at the end. But the audiobook is out. Jerod, you're going to say something.
Oh, I was going to say, one of my buddies, he's been married like 6 years, been with his girl for like 11, and he's real like into touching. He's real into like
physical contact,
all that stuff, and real like, and she's not. And and I'm like, yo, like, dude, you gotta talk to her. And he's like, no, I just sit there and every once in a while I'll be like, she'll walk in the door and I'll just be like, I'm feeling a little horny, and I'm like, no, dude, you can't hit her with like, let's just go have sex.
Yeah, you can't ask her.
I'm like, you can't do that, dude. You gotta
man up and take it. I mean, like, when you're in a relationship like that, I don't mean like rape her, but you can rape her, you know? Like,
yeah, just take control of the situation and like be like, hey, like, I even told him too. I was like, look, she takes the kids to daycare, goes to work, comes home, takes care of them while you're working. I'm like, why don't one of these days you leave the shop early, get all that situated, so by the time she gets home, it's all taken care of.
So
then,
that's
she's
very
not tired.
smart.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like a form of manipulation. I mean, what you're saying, which is great, in a good way, right? Not in a bad way, but to understand what it is that makes them tick. There's a book out there called The Love Languages, which I do something more like it's called The Emotional Currencies, but it's finding out what is the main thing that makes them tick. And obviously, this is a guy, your friend, who his is physical contact. And a lot of guys will say, oh yeah, mine's physical, or mine's sex. Yeah, give me sex and I'm good. Which to a point that's true, but maybe his wife's, love language is service. So if he were to go do that, how much would that turn her on? For example, I know my wife, man, I can put up, this is an old joke that we say all the time, but I can put up shelves, or pictures that she has in the house, or I can go and do something for her in the home that she doesn't then have to do, and she's totally turned on because I've just spoken her love language.
Nice.
Whereas for me, I'm like your friend, I'm more physical. If she comes to me and just holds my hand or comes over and gives me a hug, it's like, great, man, she's really speaking to me. She's giving that to me. So you just have to figure out what that language is.
That's interesting. I guess I would be doing stuff anyways. Like, I really like, taking care of the girl. I would always be helping regardless. But
it just depends on what. It's not that any of them are bad or wrong, right? It just depends on what is the one that speaks to them the most. So you got your physical touch, you got spending time with each other, words of affirmation, gifts, or service. So I'll bring my mom into this conversation. She's somebody who, I could spend every day doing service for her. I could tell her I love her all the time. But if I don't give her a dang card for Christmas or her birthday, she thinks I don't love her because she takes gifts as her main thing. So once you find that and you figure it out, now you can speak that language, and they're never feeling like, well, they don't tell me they love me anymore, or they don't show me that they love me. So,
yeah, that's interesting. So, okay, Jerod, you've had a lot of experience in We know it's got a dirty word, but the secret society of pickup artists.
Right.
You've got some experience in that. You and Nick have actually both spoke at the National PUA Convention or the World PUA, whatever it's called.
For Vince Kelvin. Right.
How does this stuff relate to that stuff?
You know what? The pickup stuff, I started to fall back on because once I got into a relationship, I couldn't really ask any of my buddies for advice because pickup's more about the approach, getting the girl, and the day two, which is the date. And then after that, you're kind of just on your own. And
okay, so there is no back-end coaching program.
Yeah, it's like after that, that's what they press. It's like now, it's like here's a couple conversation starters, which PUAs call openers. They teach you how to run traction, how to talk to her, tell funny stories.
Yeah, I've read the books.
Get her on a yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, get on a date, and then after you see her, it's like you're pretty much on your own. I mean, there are some pickup companies that like try and have relationship books, but I mean, a lot of the gurus are actually single, which makes me laugh.
Indeed.
But yeah, none of it, like relationship stuff is completely like it's a whole different area. Like, and I mean, they have it in the same area of the bookstores, but like when you're reading relationship books and like how to like be a better boyfriend, how to be a better lover, it's a completely different area. None of the gurus are teaching that stuff.
I had a conversation with somebody today on Facebook about that exact thing, and it was we were talking about pickup artistry, and I was like, what I do is I took the best from everything, and to be honest, I'd never even read anything. I didn't know anything. This was just my development process, and realistically, I said, okay, I don't like that, I like that, I don't like that, and when I went through my development, it was like I kind of came out with this modern male, like what I consider to be a modern male, and I found other people kind of like that who had kind of gone, okay, there's this fine line, there's this balance, like well, I'm not gonna go too far on either end, and it's funny because there's some stuff from pickup artistry that works. And then there's other stuff that I'm not a big fan of.
Right.
And then there's some stuff from gurus that really works. But then there's honestly, I hate the branding and I hate the archetype. Like, if you're a guru, you've got to be this like feel good hippie, and you got to like search deep inside your masculinity, and you got to like feel the power of.
Same here. I hate all that as well. And what I tell everybody to do is exactly what you did, Jerod. Everybody needs to study and look into different techniques and everything that's out there and take pieces what would work best for them.
Yeah.
Nobody should just follow one person and follow one road.
You can't.
Right.
You can't. And no one thing is going to work for everybody. And I mean, let's face it, like archetypes were built, they were designed, they were created. They're not real. We talk about that in the intro. With breaking down social norms and allowing somebody to be free to be what I consider the modern male, which is a male that's open, a male that is willing to grow and learn and do whatever works. And I think that that's like the most important thing that any guy can get is like there is no archetype. Just be progressive and growing and forward thinking in your thought process in anything in life, and you'll get where you need to go. And it's like, I think one of the other big pieces is that things that are not related to dating are often overlooked. Like I would say that my dating has gone through the roof because of my experience in the ring. And I think Nick would agree with me on that. Did I lose you?
Elaborate on that.
Well, I think that I often compare approaching a girl with the same kind of adrenaline dump I got the first time I ever got in the ring and fought with somebody. It's terrifying, and there's a lot of trepidation that goes into that. And I feel like, when I got in the ring for the first time, I was terrified, and like I had trained and I was super excited about getting in there. And then right before I got in there, I was like, oh shit, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be
approach anxiety.
Confidence is the number one thing you need to succeed in anything.
Exactly.
In anything. If it's in the ring with women at work, confidence is what you need. And you get that by reading and learning and experiencing it.
What would you define confidence as, Nick?
And is it something that can be learned?
Yeah, right. Miss you.
One of my friends is a PhD psychologist, and she's like, "Can you teach confidence? Do you think you can?"
Definitely. But I mean, it's through experience, though.
Yeah, that's what I said. He's cutting in and out.
Hey, buddy, you still there? Dino.
Yep.
We got you too?
I'm here, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we've just got some bad technical issues tonight, guys. I'm really sorry. But
You're good.
Our next show is going to be much better. This is our first night in the studio, in the TV studio. So, normally we've got all this set up. I think Nick is at he's at a different location, but we're actually getting close to being done. I wanted to ask, what are the most common problems that you guys run into while you're coaching people?
A lot of guys, like when it comes to online dating, people order one of my programs where I teach them everything I know, where I sit with them via Skype and I explain to them like the theory and the reason why I'm telling them to create their username, why I'm writing out their profile a certain way, and then they'll just want me to do it for them, which is actually like a couple $100 like lower package. So I'm just like, dude, I'm about to teach you so you don't have to like ask me questions later on. You just know how to do it. So people just like want me to like do the homework and everything for them, and then they think they have like access to me for the whole year because I did it for them. I'm like, all right, you just want me to do it for you? And then I just do it and I send them off on their way. But then they'll like hit me up like months later, like, hey, what's this? And I'm like, dude, like,
it's that get it now generation. Like nobody wants to learn anything.
Oh, they don't. Everybody
totally.
wants to like.
I totally agree. I would agree with you on that, Jerod. That that's the big challenge with coaching is that people want me to be more invested in their success than they are, and it's like, I can't do that. I can't be more emotionally invested in the success of your relationship than you are. And I think it does have a lot to do with this society of, well, let's just do it for you. And Jerod, I think what you were just saying there is right on with your point about confidence. People, I think you can learn confidence. The fastest way to do that is really know who you are.
Right.
Like totally know who you are, what you stand for. And if you can't write out your own freaking bio, if you can't write out your own online dating profile to say, man, this is who I am, this is why I am worth you contacting me, that's a pretty bad place to start. And I got to say that happens with couples too that I mentor, where I'm going, man, you guys got to know who you are first and foremost, know what you stand for, know what your vision is, and that way you can grow to that vision as opposed to going, well, I'll let somebody else do it for me. I have a great friend of mine. He's a best-selling author. His name's Garrett Gunderson, and he's a financial dude, and he laughs about how people always want a passive income. And he said, what in life can you be passive about and be successful at? Can you be passive about your marriage? Can you be passive about your relationships? Can you be passive about your health and be successful? No. So that's where confidence comes in, is being able to know who you are so you're not being passive about your dating life. So good for you, Jerod. I think it's awesome.
It's interesting, and it's funny because interesting, I'm going to actually talk about being interested, and I feel like even that you can dial that back even a little bit further and say that a lot of guys just aren't introspective. We're kind of taught not to be. We're taught to put out this like hardened shell of what we think masculinity is.
Right, true.
And it's this kind of like belligerent, like, I am male and you're wrong and I'm right and I'm going to dominate you with all my energy.
Mr. Alpha, right?
Yeah, and
that's thrown around too. The alpha in the PUA scene is thrown around way too much.
Way too much.
And I laugh because I'm a scrawny, pale dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how am I alpha? But like, I go and I get dates, I get women. You know what I mean? That's why I like laugh when other people are like, you need to be alpha, and I'm like, dude, you're a 5'4" coach.
Social constructs change, therefore. Like social constructs change. Therefore, what was attractive back in 1950. You're dun 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 dun. You're
corn-fed guy.
Yeah, you're corn like that. That archetype has changed, and we haven't realized that males are there's what is innately male, and then there's also what is built up around us. That is a man, and what is a man changes. Every 10 years or so, the definition of a man changes. And it's really, really interesting to see all that. And it's funny because people fall back on, boilerplate archetypes. because they're not interested in introspection, like what you're talking about, Dino, where it's like you can't get somebody to care. You can't make somebody want. You can't make somebody go, hey, I want to get better at this. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to fail. That's where the problem is. For me, getting somebody, putting a boot up their ass and going, hey, here's why you should care. And I think that even goes back to the Tony Needs thing, like the 6 human needs. We've got so much available information that we're not ever actually going, oh crap, I'm going to grab this thing. I should probably hang on to it.
Oh yeah. In the information, information era.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. Like I was telling my friends, I was like, it's not about dating, but I was like, I was reading something on health, and one of the blogs said fruits are bad for you, and I was like, you know what? I give up on the information era. I'm done.
Wow.
Fruits are bad for me, and so it just comes to show how much junk and like crap is like out there on the internet. And I agree with you because a lot of guys, what they'll do is they don't like when I got into pickup, I studied one ebook, just one.
Which one?
It's called Get the Girl Manual by this pickup artist named Mihao.
Okay.
A lot of people don't like him. Like
okay.
a lot of the P-Ways don't like him. I took that $40 ebook and ran with it. That's how I got to speak at the P-Way World Summit in 2009.
Okay.
And but other people they had like a terabyte just filled with like pickup audios, books, and then I'm just like, what are you doing?
Take one thing and master it.
Yeah, just take it, master it. And then like once you understand that structure and you made it work for you, move on to something else.
Then innovate. Yeah.
Then try that. But and then like years later, the same people that were like beginning when I was, they're still like asking questions like, hey, what opener do you use or what conversation? And I'm like, are you kidding, bro? It's been 5 years.
The whole thing, the whole pickup artist thing to me is a permission slip to develop confidence. You hand a guy a mathematical formula and you say, here, if you use this, it'll work. He goes, okay, I've got the magic script right now. And then he's got a whole bunch of other people that are showing that it works. But realistically, you're walking up and you're trusting in something, so you're being a little bit more confident. And then the more you go out there and do it, it helps you bridge the gap. It's like alcohol. To me, alcohol is a permission slip to have fun, And it's like, I feel like a lot of pickup is, I'm not saying that none of it does, like there's a lot of it that does work.
Right.
There's some of it does work, some of it,
it's in there. Yeah, I agree with you. Even though I come from that background, but it's just like after a while, like you just start to sit in, like my buddy Jerod from Casanova Crew, he was throwing the seminars here in California, in Southern California. And I would just go in and listen to the gurus, and then I would just take little pieces that I needed. I'd be like, all right, getting that girl's number line, taking that.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that little bit about how to build attraction, like how to tease her. That was a great line, like how to segue out, like perfect. Gonna take that. Yeah. Rather than other people are just like, I'm gonna use this, and then I'm gonna transfer over to here, and then I'm gonna go right here, and I'm like, yo, that's just.
Yeah, you have to be in the pocket.
You're two in your head.
You have to be in the pocket. So Dino, I mean, honestly, am I the only one here that thinks that pickup could actually work within a relationship really well to kind of tease the other person and get the other person like interested and kind of sexed up? Like, don't you think that would?
No, absolutely. What's funny about this is that as I'm listening to you guys, talking about what you like and don't like about the pickup world is that program that I talked about, The Cure to the Sex-Starved Husband. I actually interviewed a guy for the program who has a book called the 2011 Men's Sex Primer or something like that. His name's Athol K. He's from New Zealand, but he went and studied pickup artists and took a lot of their information and created this book that helped husbands, learn how to be better at picking up their wives. Yes. And so The Cure to the Sex-Starved Husband, I gleaned a lot of that type of stuff off of it by saying, like when you guys talk about the alpha thing, one of the biggest challenges in marriage is that these guys become emasculated and they don't know how to be alpha. It's a little different, obviously. Like in a marriage, alpha can easily just be stop saying I don't know, right, or tell your wife what you want for dinner, as opposed when she says what do you want for dinner, you say, well, I don't know, whatever's good. That doesn't turn on a woman. But biologically, you have a man who just steps into being the leader in his home and being alpha in that way. It actually turns women on biologically from the caveman days.
Yeah.
It's not like this weird thing. So I think there's a lot of value to this skill. Some of the outcome I'm not a huge fan of, but I'm not all about just hooking up every night. But that's just me. But I think that the ways, especially in a relationship, can be used often. Yeah.
Cool. So we got to wrap this up here real quick, but you mentioned a really good thing, and this is awesome because I've read a lot of books on a lot of different stuff, but the one that affected me the most, the best book that I've ever read on relationships and dating was David Deda's Way of the Superior Man.
Oh, it's killer.
That book was just boom. Like it put everything in perspective. Suddenly I got the male-female dynamic, and I understood what it was to be in a relationship with a woman as a man.
Yeah, my best friend, she's like the alpha female, like her ex-boyfriend who she had a kid with, like she would again, another woman that would like wake up, do the kids, take them to work, take them to school, go to work, then come home, kitchen, homework, cook, on the weekends, watering the lawn. Like she was like the head of the household.
Damn.
And then like the guy was always wondering like why he wasn't getting sex or getting laid.
Yep.
And I'm like, yo, dude, you need to like, how like what?
Yeah.
It trips me out. Like I'm just like, these guys just like, but you can't sit there and tell somebody that doesn't want, your
advice.
Yeah.
You lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. All right, guys. So this is did you have a thought on that, Dino, real quick?
No, I totally agree. Absolutely. Yeah. I see it all the time, and it's just like, dude, and it's not a big deal. Like even if that's her personality, that's fine. But learn how to be the leader in the home, be an alpha to where she can at least respect it. And like I said, biologically get turned on by it. So absolutely, Jerod, I think you're right on.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a dominance and a submissive in different areas within the household, and you have to work as a team. If you're better at that, then but there absolutely has to be something that you are good at. And it's funny because even in relationships, you kind of start to see that dynamic. Like in the beginning, they're trying to find out which place they fit, and they start to oppose each other. I'm the man. No, I'm the woman. I got to nurture. And that's where a lot of relationships fail, is they actually don't know how to find that balance.
Right, they butt heads.
Like right in the beginning, they don't understand like their roles because they don't understand themselves. So real quick, guys, we got like a minute left. I wanted to, where can people find you, Jerod? What would you like to pitch real quick?
What2messagegirls.com. It's my online dating where I give advice.
Okay.
It was down for a couple months, so I'm transferring all my blog posts over to it for my other one. And it's just what2messagegirls.com, spelled out just like that.
What2messagegirls.com.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And people spell your name. It's actually on the thing. So is there anything else, any social media profiles you want to direct people to?
No, that's it. Just the website.
Cool. And Dino?
Yeah, you can find me at dinowatt.com. That's DINOWATT.com. The majority of my clientele are more higher-end entrepreneurs, your doctors, your orthodontists, and stuff like that. But
Mr. Fancy.
You can get a lot of free stuff up there. Dentists have one of the highest suicide rates in the country, so I figure why not go help them out, right?
Really?
Highest suicide and drug rates in the country. So, you can go there. I'm also on Facebook there at the Business of Marriage under Facebook, or just my name, Dino Watt.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. Real quick, so they have the highest suicide rate
too. I'm like, I don't.
Dentists have one of the highest suicide and drug rates in the country.
So the dentist,
but their divorce rate isn't that high.
Maybe
they worked so hard, made so much money that they'd rather kill themselves than get a divorce. Isn't that crazy?
Do you think it has to do with the relationship?
Oh, I think a lot of it does. Yeah, there's huge infidelity rates in the healthcare world and profession and stuff too. So yeah,
that's insane. All right, well, crap, man. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. This was awesome. I apologize for our listeners at home. I know we had a lot of technical difficulties, but we're going to make it a better show next time. We're going to figure this out. We're actually going to get Nick on a phone that works, and we're going to, we're going to make sure to only have, I really thought you were coming in the studio, Dino. I
know, that's so funny.
I had no idea you lived in Utah. Like, how dumb is that? But, thanks for Jerod, Oner. That's such an awesome last name, Oner. And that's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Modern Male Radio.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Then we're hitting the thing. I didn't know if I'm okay. Here we go. Hoorah! There we go.
You're listening to Modern Male Radio with Jerod Zavistoski, right here on LA Talk Radio.